Welcome to Blueprint Boost for Contractors, the podcast that's your go-to source for unlocking the secrets to successful marketing, gaining valuable insights, and growing your contracting business with less stress. Your host is David Brooks, and he's thrilled to be your guide on this journey. As a seasoned expert in the contracting industry, David understands the challenges you face. That's why each episode is crafted to provide you with actionable strategies and proven blueprints to boost your business to new heights.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm your host, David Brooks, powered by Contractor Rhino, your go-to source for all your digital marketing and accounting needs in the trades. For this episode, we have a special guest with us, and I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Hey there, David. Nice to be with you today. John Cerasuolo, I'm the CEO of a company called Leap Partners. We launched Leap Partners about 3 years ago, and we are building an organization across the Southeast of HVAC and plumbing companies. So far, we've acquired 19 companies and built a company of over 500 employees, and really excited to have a chance to share some more of that with you and chat a little bit about this great industry.
All right, excellent. Glad to have you on. So could you give us a little bit more about your background and then what
Sure.
led you to Leap Partners?
Yeah. So started my career was actually in the Navy. I spent 9 years in the Navy as an engineer, and then shortly after I got out of the Navy, I started working in field services. So I've actually done 3 of these, what are commonly called roll-ups, acquiring lots of small companies to build a bigger business. The first one was in telecom services, and then after that in security, home security and monitoring, and then this current endeavor in Leap Partners. So I've got 25 years experience in kind of field services, most of that in residential home services, but some in commercial. And when we sold the last business that I built, it was a security business. Basically got together with the team that had done that and said, "Hey, what industry makes sense for us to target?" And we did a lot of research into all kinds of home service businesses and decided HVAC and plumbing, for a lot of reasons, was the right market for us. So we did a lot of research, learned a whole bunch, talked to a lot of people, and then launched Leap Partners 3 years ago.
Nice, nice. So a little bit of a journey there to get to this point.
Yeah, no doubt. It is for everyone, isn't it?
No, it's not. And what are some of the lessons that you've learned over the last, 3 years that I would say that, really help, shape things for you and
Yeah.
some of the value there?
Yeah. So lessons that we learned over the last 3 years. First is this is a phenomenal industry that is populated with business owners that are really exceptional people. I've been so impressed with the talent, commitment, dedication, and hard work that business owners across the country in both HVAC and plumbing that's required to build the businesses. Now, as everybody knows, it's a very fragmented industry. There's lots of small companies. We generally target smaller companies. So the folks that I'm generally talking to about working with us inevitably started out as a plumber, as a HVAC technician. Somewhere along the way, decided they were going to take a risk and build a business. And for the most part, they've done that for 10 or 15 or 20, sometimes 30 years. And the respect, I have really just unlimited respect for someone who takes a chance like that, kind of going after the American dream, puts it all on the line, invests in themselves, builds a business, supports their community, takes care of their employees. So it's just been a real joy to be around folks like that. I love being around entrepreneurs. I love being around people who are excited about creating things and building businesses. And that's probably the thing that stands out most about the last 3 years. I spend most of my time working with business owners and trying to find partners for us. And it's, every day I'm kind of inspired by the folks that I'm around, and a respect for the value of working in this industry, in the trades generally, but specifically in the industries that we're in.
Nice. That's great. That's great. Information, like you said, having conversations with those business owners, be able to see the professionalism, the resilience, and just being able to have that knowledge of talking and having building those relationships and being able to see, how many different business owners are going about building up their companies.
It is a significant challenge. If you think about someone coming out of the trades, thinking about starting their own business, it's one thing to be an expert in plumbing or in HVAC, but it's another thing to take on the challenges of starting a business, right? So obviously understanding the technology and understanding what it takes to take care of customers that have problems, that is an important part, but it's only one part of running a successful business. Right? The thing, the range of things you have to be able to do between hiring employees, dealing with accounting and financials, trying to understand marketing. We all know how challenging that can be. The range of things you have to do when you're a business owner, it's very broad. So, to think of some of these owners who've taken on that challenge, and in most cases just kind of learned the hard way, right? You make a mistake, you learn from it, you move on, you pick yourself up, dust off, and get back in the ring again. And so someone who's taken a business from zero to $1 million in revenues, 3 million in revenues, 5 million in revenues, it's an enormous accomplishment. And for a lot of the folks that we end up talking to, it's also, it's a massive challenge that continues as they run the business. There's no one, they're in most cases the sole owner. There's no one else to rely on. It all comes down to them. Every big decision, every big issue comes on their plate. So, just from a personal standpoint, it's just a significant commitment. And it just inspires the kind of respect that I have for what each of these owners has built.
Yeah, it's not easy, making that transition sometimes from, working inside of the business and the day to day of just, servicing jobs, talking with customers, going out, and then transitioning to say, okay, now I want to run the company and now have all these additional
Yeah,
responsibilities. And you're like, wow, I didn't go to school for, accounting. I
yeah,
went to school for, team management and upbuilding or marketing. So it's a lot of different nuances to it.
sure. You just think about it, from a financial perspective, it's very important a business owner understands, how to finance a business, how to manage cash flows, how to understand the financial metrics that are important. Figuring out how to read financial statements, how to, all of that is just, it's totally new. And in most cases, they're trying to do that while they are working 60 hours a week in the business. So, anyone that's been through that learning curve and has successfully built a business of any size, I think really deserves a lot of credit and respect.
No, I totally agree with that. And, just being able to piggyback off that, uh, coming in and, just running a business and the challenges that go along with it, and building it up, is really remarkable, uh, over the course of time, what, different people are able to do. But as far as the support, that's needed, what advice would you give someone, running a home service business today to be able to help them out?
Yeah, so it varies a lot based on kind of the stage that they're in. Um, but there's a couple of important elements. One is to have some advisors around you, some folks that can mentor you and that can help because of all this wide range of challenges. Having somebody that you can rely on. It could be a friend, it could be a peer who's running a business, it could be partners that you work with, but it's tough to be on an island and do everything on your own and not have folks that you can rely on to help. So, at some businesses at a certain size, you can have a, kind of an advisory group that you work with. There's some industry groups that provide that kind of support. It can be just friends who are business people that can help, but not trying to do it all yourself and having some folks that you trust that you can rely on for advice, I think is really, really important at any stage. And there's lots of resources there, whether it's an industry group, whether it's friends that are running businesses. But I think that's one thing I think is really helpful, to have folks that you can rely on that can help you navigate through some of the challenges you're going to deal with, whether it's marketing and human resources, recruiting, understanding your financials, whatever the case might be. There's folks out there that can help, so that you're not having to really, learn those lessons the hard way every time.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Having some type of trusted advisor, mentor to be able to help you out along the way. And you're going to hit those different stages in the beginning, mental, middle part, high level, and then going on above that. So you need help being able to navigate those different waters, because the first step or part of your business on the ground floor looks a lot different than 5 stories up.
Yep, no doubt. And that really never stops. I'm obviously well into my career, and I continue to look for and build mentors and advisors that can help me in doing what I'm doing, and especially coming into this industry fresh 3 years ago. And having been in home services but not in HVAC and plumbing, I found lots of really wonderful people who are generous with their time, to help me as I was kind of navigating through something new.
And that's great. And that's a great testament to be able to hear from you, right? It doesn't sometimes matter how much success or traction you've had. You've always can, take nuggets and valuable tips and information from other people to help, transform your path along the way, to be able to be more effective, be able to make better use of your time, to be able to help you understand different things more.
Yeah, no doubt. I think one of the secrets to a successful life, not just career, but a successful life in general, is surrounding yourself with people that you admire, and that inspire you and that you can learn from. That goes for the personal part of your life, but especially for the business, from a business aspect, is having folks around you that can help you to elevate yourself to achieve what you're capable of doing, is really important. And it comes down to just finding great people to have in your network. And whether I've often gave that as I was raising my kids. I always often thought the most important thing they did was decide on who the friends they were going to surround themselves with. That is a very important factor in determining the path of your life. And I think the same thing in business. If you surround yourself with exceptional people who you look up to, and that can help elevate you, you have a much higher limit on what you're going to be able to accomplish in your career.
I totally agree with that. Being able to surround yourself with really great people is going to help mold you, help influence you, push you in the right directions, give you good advice, have your back, and just be able to just help you overall, like not just business, but
Yeah,
just being a good person in your life, dealing with family. Those are all of really good pillars and foundations of having those important people along the way. I can remember talking to someone one time, and it was a major head of a company, and basically he was giving me advice, and it was like, you don't need to be here. I don't want you here because how I got here, I wouldn't recommend it to someone else. So I'm to do you a favor and push you away in another direction. And I valued that. Like, I was thinking about, wow, like the wisdom, but he learned a really good lesson. He said, had I had somebody like
yeah,
that along the way to help me or point me in that direction, I would have had a much better quality of life.
yeah, yeah. Well said. Well said.
Now, as you're, partnering with different, HVAC and plumbing companies, how important is company culture?
So our success begins and ends with the talent in the organization, the leadership talent that we have, and with the culture that we built. So when we look for companies to acquire, our model is a little bit different. Every company that we acquire, the owner stays with us and continues to run his business. So the first gate for any conversation we have with a prospective partner is the quality and talent of the leader of the organization. If the leader of that organization doesn't line up with our culture, with our approach to taking care of customers and taking care of employees, and just kind of the doing business with a foundation of integrity every day, if an owner doesn't match up with that and align with us on that, there's no company that's good enough, that so good that we would want to do a deal if we didn't have that alignment with the owner. So that is really where culture starts, with the character of the owner of the business. So that is number one on our list. We won't even consider a business that doesn't come with an owner who aligns with our approach to how to run a business.
That's good that you have that, foundational element, because that's important. Running and promoting a good company culture is not only important for inside of the business, but outside of the business. How you're looked at inside of the community. You see those good reviews on Google and you see those bad ones, right?
Yeah, reputation. I mean, reputation really is everything. We've bought 19 companies so far, so we have 19 owners of these businesses, soon to be 20, who are the core of what makes Lee Partners a special business. It all begins with the talent of the leadership in each of our operating locations. We're across the Southeast, and we know our success in the long run is going to be predicated on the talent and capability of those guys that are on the front lines every day for us. So yeah, if culture isn't central to what you're building, you're inevitably going to get to the point where you're going to have all sorts of problems. And having that kind of consistent, defined culture that you're trying to build, I think, especially for us, in that we're growing so quickly over 3 years, buying 19 companies and expanding so quickly. If you don't have that kind of alignment, things can pretty quickly spin out of control.
Yeah, that you definitely don't want the spin out to happen. So you need everything to be aligned and for it to make sense.
Yep.
Now, what are some more of your goals for Leap Partners? Any exciting new developments, or can we expect something in the near future?
Yeah. So we've got a phenomenal organization. Our organization, there's really a couple of components to our formula. Number one is a great group of investors. We're partnered with a family who's our prime investor, what's called the Family Desk out of Chicago. Super people who are very engaged and enthusiastic about what we're building, and it's important to have investors that have the same objectives in mind. So we've got great investors. We got an awesome core team, which is kind of our staff team that handles the back office stuff for our team, and that's all the things that often are frustrating: accounting, taxes, payroll, insurance, benefits, recruiting, marketing, fleet management. All that stuff. We got a great team that handles that, and that frees up our partners, the former business owners who joined us, to run their operations with a lot of great support and a super infrastructure, accounting system, field operating software, whole support team to help them to improve every day. So we've got a great structure, and what's ahead for us is to continue to aggressively train and develop our teams so that they can continue to improve their performance while we aggressively go out and find great companies to add to our portfolio. So we're adding, something like 8 companies a year to our business. We think there's a long runway to do that. Again, we're targeting smaller companies. They may be anywhere from 10 to 40 employees is probably kind of our sweet spot. And there's just plenty of really, really good companies across the Southeast. So we expect to continue growing, developing our processes, expanding our business, building on our reputation, continuing to add 8 or so companies a year to our network, and building what we think is going to be an exceptional business across the Southeast.
That's amazing. That's a great framework, set up, organized, for success. Everybody has their role inside of the organization and the partners, to be able to, set up that successful framework, which is really important. Because if you don't have that foundation right and the right people in the right places, things won't run like a, fine-tuned machine.
We are very fortunate. Anytime you start a business from ground zero, there's lots of challenges along the way. But I think we started with a really good framework of what our path was going to be and what we were trying to build. There's a common refrain that says begin with the end in mind, and I think we really did that well. We identified what it is we wanted to build, what we wanted to create. There are lots of steps along the way, but we're well down the path. Plenty of challenges ahead, but I think the talent we have in this organization is going to ensure that we continue to exceed the expectations that we've set for ourselves.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. And following up to that, let's just say, I'm a business owner in the area. How do I reach out? How do I get the ball rolling? How does that process go?
Yeah. So I'm like the main contact for all of these conversations that we start. So a great place to start is our website, theleappartners.com. My cell phone number is on the site, my contact information. You can go there and reach out to me. And I'll say this too, we have lots of conversations, even with companies that aren't thinking of selling. We have lots of owners that we'll talk to that say, hey, I'm a few years away, but it'd be nice to have a conversation to get prepared for what's ahead, to have an idea of what I maybe should be doing today to prepare for an exit down the road. I'm always happy to share any experiences I've had with anyone in this space. So for your listeners, anybody who's interested in just understanding more about how this works in a confidential way, they can reach out to me anytime.
Excellent. Perfect. And I always like to leave the podcast with some really, great advice for the audience and the listeners. Normally I ask a question in that regard to follow through on that, but I'll just allow you to pick.
So advice. In my view, the folks that are most successful in life and in business are the folks who are enthusiastic and enjoy what they're doing. Because if you find something you love to do, it doesn't feel like work, and you can accomplish much more because you're happy. Happy people achieve more. And we actually talk about this quite a bit with an organization. If our folks aren't happy, not just the leadership, but the folks throughout the organization, if they're not happy doing what they're doing and enjoying it, they're not going to be performing as well as they could. So we need to understand what it is that can make the environment that we all work in one that we really find a lot of joy in. And when it comes down to it, that's what life's all about. I would encourage any leaders that are listening to think about what it is that they can do to make their organization one that their team really loves working for. If you can do that, there's no limit to what you can accomplish.
Excellent. Well said. Well said. Thank you so much, John, for joining the podcast.
David, enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Excellent. Well, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode. Make sure you tune into the next one. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blueprint Boost for Contractors, We hope you found today's insights and strategies valuable for your contracting business. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and please leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring content that truly matters.